So hey guys, it's April 1st, but this is no trick. It's your first Halloween Horror Nights 30 video for the year. So if this is your first video of mine that you're seeing, hi, I'm Liz. I'm a Halloween Horror Nights Orlando fanatic. I've been attending the event since 2001 with only 2 years missed in that entire time frame. I love the event with my whole heart, which also means I love talking about the event. So make sure to subscribe for all your Halloween Horror Nights 30 rumors, news, and eventually, hopefully, vlogs. So the reason I'm here today filming is that on Monday, Horror Night Nightmares released their first speculation map. And that means it's fair game to start talking rumors for Halloween Horror Nights 30. Let's get into it. So obviously rumors have been swirling for a while now. I've held off on making a first video, waiting for something big like this to happen. And sure enough, on Monday, Horror Night Nightmares decided to grace us during these strange times we're living in with a rumors map. So before I go into the actual houses that are on this map, I do want to address the fact of the elephant in the room, that we are all varying levels of concerned about this fall and whether or not Halloween Horror Nights will continue as usual. Will the event still happen? There's a lot of questions out there that we just don't know the answers to, but we do know that the creative teams behind Halloween Horror Nights are still working from home even though Universal is shut down. So that has hope. They're still continuing, they're still working on it. Even if everything is at a halt inside the parks, the behind the scenes work is still going on. So fingers crossed, let's all hope that things are much more normal by the fall. And with that out of the way, let's start talking rumors. This early in the game, everyone just needs to keep in mind that things are still changing. These are still rumors, these are not set in stone, but there's probably some truth to it. There's probably some on here that are the legit houses. Just don't get your heart too set on any of these being 100% accurate. My overall feelings on it, because I know a lot of people were sharing their overall feelings on Twitter and there's a lot of backlash. My overall thought is that I know at the anniversary year people were hoping for mostly originals, but I just don't think that's realistic anymore. As much as I would still have that as my ideal event, I just know that's not the era that we're in anymore. I am cautiously optimistic about this lineup. I'm not mad at it. I know some people on Twitter were very upset, but let's go into each house and then you'll understand my reasoning. Let's start with the IPs. First of all, we have Beetlejuice, which I think will be along the lines of Ghostbusters. It's going to be a show house, not a scary house, but walking through the movie. While personally, I would prefer a scarier experience as much as possible, I do know that Universal does this better than anybody else. I enjoy Beetlejuice as much as the next person. Beetlejuice has had a very big part in the Universal parks for years. It makes sense for them. I think it'll be like Ghostbusters was for me, where I liked it. Was it on any sort of favorites list for me? No, but it was an enjoyable experience. First impression, show house. Next up we have The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I have not watched this show on Netflix yet, so I'm gonna hold off my opinions until I watch it. I know some people seem upset about this one too, but I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know. It seems like it's a good fit. It seems like it's a very Halloween dark take on Sabrina. So we'll come back to it once I've watched it. If you have watched it, let me know down below what you think, if it'll work for Horror Nights. Then we have The Haunting of Hill House, which I have also not watched on Netflix yet. However, from the clips I've seen and everyone talking about it, this one definitely looks like it will fit for Horror Nights. They're very good at making things very spooky. Ghost houses are a no-brainer. It seemed like everyone was in love with this show when it came out. I was honestly scared to watch it, and that's why I haven't watched it, because everyone was talking about the creepy ghosts in the background, and that's what gets me. Like, as far as things that terrify me, it's little things like that that just get under my skin. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I don't know if you can see that. That's what scares me. So I think they can absolutely pull off a fantastic ghost house of this theme. Again, if you've watched the show, let me know down below. I definitely plan on watching it very soon. I've got plenty of time on my hands right now. Then we've got Gremlins. I think you guys know I love the movie. It's one of my favorite movies. Love Gizmo. As a Halloween Horror Nights house, this one has a giant question mark for me. I understand it's another 80s property and they've been going through the 80s properties like crazy. I just don't know how it's going to work as a Halloween Horror Nights house, and I fear that it's going to suffer from the same issues that Stranger Things 2 did, where there's too much puppets and not enough actors, just not executing scares because everything's too static. I assume they would have to do hand puppets because the Gremlins are so tiny, and I just don't know that that's going to deliver on scares or experience. And I love the movie. I do. It's a classic. I hope I am pleasantly surprised by it, but I worry about it being a Stranger Things 2 all over again. We have Universal Monsters The Bride, and as someone on Twitter pointed out, Frankenstein is not the only one that had a bride, which Frankenstein's monster, I should say, isn't the only one that had a bride. Dracula has a bunch of brides. Very curious to see what's gonna happen with this one. And after the Universal Monsters house from last year, which was great, I am very curious to see how they take this story, and are they gonna go deeper into the bride story? Or, as one of my friends mentioned, is this a tie-in to the new movie series that's coming out? I'm hoping it's the first. I'm hoping it's more of an A&D original take on the bride and just going deep dive into her story or their story as it may be. Cautiously optimistic for this one based on last year's house because they nailed that one. And then the one that has everyone up in arms is Billie Eilish. I love her music. I'm a big fan of her album. I think she is a genius for how young she is, and the fact that she and her brother produced the whole album on their own, and just I think she's a very, very interesting human being. And I do think some of her songs are very creepy and can be used as inspiration. Now this is one of the houses that I have a little bit of a discrepancy against, because I had heard that Billie Eilish was going to be part of the Lagoon show and not a house. I'd heard she was going to have a house in Hollywood but not in Orlando. Things change. Maybe they decided to do a house in both locations after all. If it really is a Billie Eilish house, I think we have to look back to 2012 when we had the Alice Cooper house, where it used Alice Cooper's music and kind of made creepy vignette music videos out of the different songs. Each area had a different theme to it. You could do the same thing with Billie Eilish, where you're taking inspiration off the vibes and feelings of her music. I have faith that A&D can do something with it and turn it into something cool, and it essentially then would feel like an original. It seems like a weird choice. It seems unlikely. I love Billie. I love her music. I can definitely understand the market that they're aiming for, because she's pretty much the biggest. I don't really technically consider her pop, but I guess she's pop. She's the biggest artist out at the current moment, especially if they want to continue to bring in the younger crowds. It's definitely a age group that spends a lot of money. Corporate decisions usually go toward that age group, so I can understand the business side of it, even if creatively it's a question mark. So that's the IPs on this list. I'll move on to the originals, which are the ones I'm more excited for anyway. First of all, we have Dungeon of Terror, which, if true, would be really awesome because that was the very first house at Halloween Horror Nights of all time. I have never gotten to go through a Dungeon of Terror house because I think the last one they had, I was going through houses, but I was a noob and missed it. Let me do some quick research. Okay, so yes, I was correct. The last Dungeon of Terror was Dungeon of Terror Retold at Halloween Horror Nights Sweet 16, and I was a noob and I missed it. So I did houses that year. That was the first year I did houses. So I only went one night in 2006, and it was my first year ever doing houses because I'd been a chicken all my years before that. Shout out to my nightingales. I didn't know what I was doing, so we basically just got in line, and the houses I did that year were Psychopath, The Return of Norman Bates, All Night Die-In 2, and People Under the Stairs. I did 3 of the houses. There were 7 houses. I missed all of the icon houses for Sweet 16. No, I take it back. I got to do the director's house because I did All Night Die-In 2. I missed Psychoscarapy, I missed Scream House, and I missed Dungeon of Terror. Ugh, it just breaks my heart. Man. Ugh, the pain. Dungeon of Terror was the very first house ever done at Halloween Horror Nights. It would be really neat to have it back for the 30th anniversary. After that, we have Bedtime Stories, which I hear is the rumored Tooth Fairy from last year. Got canned for some other IP that I can't remember what it was, but other IP came in, so we lost Tooth Fairy. It's back as Bedtime Stories. It sounds like it's going to be along the lines of Scary Tales, but even if it's just based on a variety of bedtime stories, I like it. I think it could be good. So fingers crossed it sticks around this year and we actually get to see what was in their mind, because last year's originals were really good. So if this was part of that core group that they wanted to have at 29, I have faith that that one's gonna be really good. Then we have Legendary Truth, based on Cary, Ohio, which if you're a Halloween Horror Nights fan, you know Cary, Ohio is a very spooky place. All the bad things happen in Cary, Ohio. It's a fictional place that was created by A&D, and a lot of various houses and scare zones have stemmed from Cary, Ohio. Supposedly this house is going to be a best of Cary, Ohio locations and monsters and scary items. I'm here for it, for sure. I think I might do a separate video just talking about Cary, Ohio and everything we've seen that came out of Cary, just to give a better idea of what could possibly be in this house. So stay tuned for that in the future. We'll do a history lesson on Cary, Ohio. It also has the Legendary Truth tag on it, which has been a whole backstory of lore with Halloween Horror Nights. So when I do that video, I will also go through the history of Legendary Truth and kind of explain what that tag means. And then finally on this list, we have a Terra Cruentes. I think that's how you say it. It's a Terra Queen house. Oh, I hope that Terra Queen is back. She should be, because in the Halloween Horror Nights lore, it's time for her return. So back in 2005, Terra Queen was supposed to be the icon for the event. And again, I'm gonna plan a whole separate video to go into all of this, because 2005 was one of my favorite years for lore. Even though I was still a chicken, didn't go in houses, I was obsessed with the website. I was obsessed with the story leading up to the event. I loved the scare zones. It was at Islands of Adventure. We're gonna go into it. We're gonna do a whole history lesson on 2005 because it's necessary to understand the lore for 30. So at the end of 2005, the Terra Queen was sacrificed, but she's supposed to return in 15 years, and I have a hard time believing it's already been 15 years because it feels like I have those memories as of yesterday, and somehow we're 15 years later and it's Halloween Horror Nights 30, and where has the time gone? I am old. I am happy that they're following the lore, that she is going to come back. Very excited for it. Some quarantine history lessons for you coming up soon. So that brings us to the end of this list. However, I will say that I have been hearing that we might actually have 11 houses. Now with everything currently happening in the world, that might not happen, because an additional house that has not been officially announced where you can just cut it. They've already officially announced that there's going to be 10 houses and 5 scare zones, but you can always add a surprise house. With all of this happening and possible budget cuts, maybe we lose the 11th house and that doesn't happen. But I had heard that we were going to have a standard anniversary house, not just the Cary, Ohio one. So I would think that that would still be in the mix of going through the greatest hits of the past 5 years. Then again, do you need 2 anniversary best of houses? I don't know. So comment down below if you know. Did Scarecrow happen in Cary, Ohio? Because I don't remember if it did. We have to have Scarecrow return one way or another. So if it's not happening in the Cary, Ohio house, then we need another anniversary house to have Scarecrow. Or just have Scarecrow too. I would be happy with that. But I think across the board, Scarecrow has been everyone's favorite house of the past 5 years. So I really want that one represented somewhere. Also, I have been hearing a different IP instead of Billie Eilish, but I'm gonna keep that one private until it becomes more public. See if that was maybe just something that ended up on the cutting room floor, or might be something that comes in the future. We'll see. Like I said, it's a rumor list. We won't know until much later. And with the parks being closed and not having any idea when the self-isolation and quarantines will end, I really don't know when announcements will start happening. Usually we get our first announcement around this time. April usually kicks things off as far as official announcements, but I can't see Universal wanting to jump in the middle of this and start promoting anything right now. I have a feeling we're gonna have to wait longer for official announcements, and we're just gonna have to keep having these little rumor chats and history chats. In the meantime, I will gladly come back and have these weekly chats, every other week chats. I don't quite know yet, but I definitely think it's time to start having some Halloween Horror Nights discussions as we approach 30 and have something to look forward to, right? So that is it for the rumor map. Leave me comments down below what your opinions are, and just keep in mind, take it with a grain of salt. These things change. It's very early. We'll see how it all unfolds with time. I'm planning to do a Terra Queen video and a Cary, Ohio video, and eventually I'll do a planning a trip to Halloween Horror Nights video. I'm gonna wait for the world to calm down before I make that video, just because I don't think very many people are in the mindset of planning anything at the moment. I'd rather just do these conversational videos. So if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about, leave it down below, and I guess I'll see you guys soon for more Halloween Horror Nights 30. Fingers crossed. I don't know whether to cheer or cry, or I don't know. I'm a range of emotions right now. So I hope you're all doing well out there. I hope these videos will help take your mind off things and give us something to look forward to. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye.